Hello there. This is a leadership platform, and my name is Ambassador Cliff Ayoze. It's my pleasure to welcome you. Today we have a personality on this personality program, somebody that has made his mark over the years, somebody that remains a mentor to the younger generation, a product of University of Ibadan, where he graduated in with very excellent result in geology. Today, he has passed through a whole lot to get to this very point in life. He was part of Federal Ministry of Mines and Power, where decisions are taken to ensure that Nigeria makes the best of her resources. From there, he moved on to Shell Petroleum Development Company and gave reasonable number of years before progressing to Eni as ENI, currently known as AGIP. He is widely traveled and has remained focused in life. He is a success story of a true Mbise person with capacity. Today, he is the moderator of Mbise Leadership Forum. He has occupied that position since 2019 and also the executive director, Mbise Global Foundation, and he has been in that position since 2020. Today, he'll be sharing his experience with us that will be an inspiration to the younger generation. It's my pleasure to welcome Honorable Christopher Ohanele. It's my pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Cliff.
So, talking about you, this forum is not enough to talk about your person. The years you've passed through serving humanity, serving your country, serving your community. And but we'd like you to give us a little insight because people watching will want to know a little more about your person and your trajectory in life.
Well, thank you very much. You've summarized it. I have a humble origin and I've always had a simple life coming from my upbringing in the family. My father was a school teacher and my mother was a very good supporter of my father, running her business as a seamstress. And we had a very strong not just family upbringing, but a very Catholic training also at home. And that went on to high school, and I went to Mr. Secondary School under the principal, James Mwog, who was very much of a disciplinarian. And so that's the background I had from the family to secondary school, and I took that on to the university a few years after the Civil War and did my studies in geology, and graduated in 1977. I moved quickly to a few places for employment, very briefly in the Geological Survey of the Federal Ministry of Mines and Power, but I always wanted to work with the oil and gas industry. So I applied to Shell. That was the only company I applied to work. And I got that job eventually starting in April of 1979. And a lot of things happened from there. And I did my best to support the company, but the company was also a major player in the Nigerian industry. So indirectly, one was also working to help the country. And I'm very happy that I did. I put in my best, and the company also appreciated in their own way what one did. Because my family had moved to the United States in 2003, at my instance, to make sure that my children were in a good position to attend college, high school and college in the US, I sought and got an early retirement from Shell. And so I moved to the United States, hung around for a few years, and then went to ENI International in the city of Milan in Italy. And there I put in a few years before I was moved to London. So all this experience from the family to high school to university and to the professional locations in Shell and ENI. ENI is better known in Nigeria as AGIP, those were formative, opportunities, because as we live on earth, we grow, and as we grow, we share our experiences with everybody that comes across us. And hopefully the impact was good and positive. And so having left the service in the oil and gas, I was determined to help in my little way to help Mbise to move forward. And so I got into the business of supporting the effort of our brothers in Mbise, USA, when they set up Mbise Leadership Forum in 2016.
Okay, we'll get into Mbise USA. I just wanted to look at their background. A lot of perseverance working for Federal Ministry of Mines and Power, transiting to Shell and ENI. All that, remain quite inspiring. Because you have an understanding family, you move them. Yeah, I must give credit to your wife, for holding forth anytime you make all this movement. I believe so. I hope it's the same with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about transition. How easy did you find it? Settling in the United States. These days, you pay their dues over time, but the younger generation appear not to be as patient as our elders of these days. They want to, uh, do 100 meters in 2 seconds. Achieve things overnight. What word do you have for them?
Well, one, we said, look, everybody lives in a certain generation, and you have to know what is important in that generation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work alongside your peers, and also drawing from the experience you have had from the previous generation. So I would say, look, it's good to be on board in your time, but patience is important. Don't be overdriven. Be focused. Be hardworking. Make sure you're not left behind, but always remember that every day is a blessing, and don't overdrive, and don't get yourself hot. There is a lot of impatience these days. Obviously, there is. So I would say, look, do your best, work hard, but know that there may be tomorrow. There is tomorrow, and that you need to be alive tomorrow, and that you should appreciate all those who brought you forward and gave you the opportunity that your parents did not have.
Okay. Let's move on now to Mbise Leadership Forum. You are the moderator. One will be wondering, what is it all about? You want to give us insight into what it stands for, its vision and mission, and to what extent you've been able to drive it, to its present place.
Well, thank you so much. Mbise Leadership Forum, it's, for those who don't know, it's a think tank for Mbise development. It's a place, a forum where Mbise intelligentsia bring ideas to the table for the purpose of moving Mbise forward, for the purpose of developing Mbise and making it a better place. There is a vision. The vision is to make Mbise a first-class community in a third world country. That's a vision. It looks like it's ambitious, but we can drive it and do what we can in our time and hand over to the next generation. It's a very important vision. It can be done, and we are on it. So it was set up for the purpose of bringing ideas to the table so that we can move Mbise forward with development. One of the most important things we have achieved so far is to publish a strategic development master plan for Mbise. That master plan was presented to Mbise USA in 2019, and then to Ezrezu Mbise at the end of that year. And that's a very important development, because we believe that other organizations can key into that and bring in more ideas and then help work together, everybody, in order to achieve the wish, the purpose that is intended in the plan. So I guess we'll come to the reason we have to now move forward to implement that plan by creating a foundation. I could say a lot more about Business Leadership Forum, but one has to be mindful of the time that is available for answering the question you just asked me.
Yeah, a whole lot. People want to know actually, how it's evolved and the kind of cooperation you are receiving as a moderator, how much the MBC intelligentsia are queuing into it and giving you the necessary support to achieve this program. Would you want to react in that direction?
Yes, I can react to it. The thing is, people who were in Business Leadership Forum by 2017, and I call it MLF for short. By 2017, there were several committees that were set up, and business people were assigned different tasks in these committees. For instance, there was a committee on education, another committee on health, another committee on economic development and finance. We had a committee on culture, entertainment, and tourism, and so on. So that was a very important time in 2017 for business people to work. And they did. And it was the work that they put together, the recommendations that they came forward with, that we are now brought into the master plan, which we published in 2019. So the cooperation was very good right from 2017. And by the way, I said MLF was started in 2016. So, but once we published the master plan and started thinking of implementation, we created different groups to go forward with the implementation activities.
Okay.
I have to tell you that right now, so many people who are joining MLF in recent times, in the last 1 year or two, are not participating as much as would be expected. Yeah, they may know that there are committees that are working to implement, but when you bring in ideas that needs the attention of members, you discover that they are more interested in the partisan politics of the day rather than on business development issues. So that's a challenge there.
Okay. Now, I know that we have another organization, the MBC Global Foundation, that was set up. One would be wondering the relationship between MBC Leadership Forum and MBC Global Foundation, of which you are an executive director of MBC Global Foundation. Would you want to enlighten us along that line?
All right. Yeah, I can do that quickly. So once the master plan was published, we deliberated within the admin of MLF Business Leadership Forum, and we decided to also bring in the board of trustees of Business Leadership Forum, and we are thinking about how best can we go forward with implementing the ideas in the master plan. So we agreed that we need to speak with Business USA, where the idea of MLF actually started during the Austin Convention of 2016. And we did. So MLF admin leadership met with Business USA leadership. And it was agreed that the best way to do this, implement the master plan, was to actually set up a foundation. And so that's how we came up with the idea of setting up a foundation. And the idea again was this foundation must have membership based on organizations in MBC, not on individuals.
Okay.
So now we have MBC Leadership Forum collaborating with MBC USA, agreeing to move forward to create a foundation. And our next port of call was to contact Resume Business to share ideas with them and get their agreement, because I wanted them to know what we are doing so that there be no misunderstanding in any way. And thankfully, Resume Business leadership gave us the support to create a foundation, which we did in the middle of 2020. And thereafter, we started talking to different organizations. And so far, we have 11 member organizations belonging to the foundation. And these member organizations have been contributing their members to work in different advisory councils that we set up to look at different areas of development. So, for instance, many people are aware of the the Women Development Advisory Council, and they are doing a good job in Mbise. Right in Mbise, they are doing a very good job. They recently held a workshop, and we have other advisory councils that are also working. We have the Security Advisory Council, we call it Chekwamba, headed by General Joseph Osuji. And so there is a lot going on. The foundation is working on a number of projects right now. The board of the foundation has approved 3 projects. One is the security company from Mbise. Another one is the microfinance bank. And then we have another one called the GrowMe, which is an internet platform that is aiming to bring Mbise entrepreneurs together, connect them online, give them opportunities for mentorship and training, and improve the links and the interactions between Mbise people across the globe on matters that concern, business and entrepreneurship. So this is what is going on right now. The work is ongoing, but there is progress that is being made, and more people need to get to know about it, and they will.
Do you think, given the existence of Mbise Leadership Forum and the Global Foundation to drive whatever programs and projects you've set up to do, to what extent do you think you've been able to achieve this? To what extent are you getting sponsorship, getting people to execute certain programs and policies you've initiated? You talked about the microfinance bank. You talked about the Chekwamba. The women advisory, I know too well. They're having sensitization and workshops, going on with Dr. Linda Imo, Dr. Chiago, them getting involved, a lot of publications and all that. So what would you say in that direction? Are they moving at the expected speed?
Yes, we have constraints, obviously. At this moment, we still don't have the funding we need. So in that sense, there is some slow walking. But we have been focused since inception, we have been focused on actually organizing and mobilizing, because it's very important. So we've been organizing and mobilizing. And we believe that at some time going forward, there'll be more a focus on now generating the funds necessary. Different ideas.
How are you funded? Because you just you have 11 members. Is just the money they contribute or what?
Okay, so like I said, at the moment, the funding is something we are going to take forward. But the first part, which I said, is we need to organize and to mobilize. So what we have been doing is to organize different organizations into this foundation. Okay, we have not come to the point where we are generating a lot of money. We have a funding philosophy, and the way to generate the funds is a task we have assigned to one of the advisory councils. It's called Economic Development and Finance. So that particular team will generate the ideas to fund what we are doing. So one of the philosophies that have been agreed is that projects should be based on investments. That's the idea of individuals simply giving charity money is not the best approach, because our belief is that it is not sustainable. We want a more sustainable approach, and the Advisory Council on Economic Development has given us that advice. Let's base our activities, our projects on investments. Those who will be willing to invest in the microfinance bank, then we do that. And those who put in their money there, we have a say in how that team is organized. They will have a say in who runs the microfinance bank and so on. So this is what we are trying to do. Same thing for security company, right?
Yeah, let me take you on another thing. You have a board, the chairman of that board is Dr. Sylvester Tugo, who is a personality of note, who has served in different capacities. What's the relationship, to what extent is the board working to ensure that you meet up your objectives?
Well, as you know, the board is is constituted. You are right. The chairman is Dr. Sylvester Ugo, and the deputy chairman is Mr. Frank Inej, the CEO of ABC Transport.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So just for a second, before I go into the relationship, let me just immediately recognize that every member of the admin team, which the executive officers of the foundation, every member is also part of the board.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, the day-to-day running of the foundation is the responsibility of that executive team. Okay. The board itself has many other members in addition to the executive officers of the foundation. For instance, the current president of MBC USA, Chief SOS Agenda, is a member of the board. The current vice president of MBC USA, Ezeja Loziagowa, is a member of the board. Okay. The chairman of the Economic Development Advisory Council, Mr. Frank Inhekwaba, is a member of the board, and many others. The President General of Izrezumbisa is a member of the board, and so on and so forth. There are many of them from across the 5 clans of Mbisa. So, coming to my relationship with the chairman, Dr. Sylvester, it's a very good working relationship. Dr. Sylvester, I think my early interaction with him gave him the confidence, and he has used his own words to tell me this, that he believes in my sincerity of what I'm doing, in what I'm doing. He trusts me, and I have always made sure that the trust is upheld. So when I offer him any advice, he listens to me very well and takes it forward. And that's because of that initial trust which he has, found in me, placed in me. So I work very well with him. I share ideas, and I get his own views as well. He has been very respectful, and obviously he's our elder and father, and he has a very wonderful background. So I have to say I've been working very well with him. Same for the deputy chairman, Mr. Frank Inej. We work very well, and it's been good. And for many other members of the board, I also interact with them. And for instance, today I had a lengthy conversation with Chief Echendo. A few days ago I had with 2 other members of the board. So I do that. The relationship is very good.
All right. Let's now, you are deeply involved in anything concerning MBC. And you've talked about in passing MBC USA as an umbrella body of MBC in the diaspora in America. They have programs and policies, they're quite the executive in the operation, so to say. What is your picture of MBC USA as an umbrella body of MBC in America? And what's the relationship between MBC USA, MLF, and MGF?
All right. So let me take the relationship very quickly. The MBC Leadership Forum was set up in 2016 at the MBC USA Convention in Austin. At the time, I had not come into the US from my job. I was working in London at the time, but it didn't take very long before I left service, and then I came in 2017, and then I was invited to come in and help. So the MBC USA set up MBC Leadership Forum, and it has been agreed. It's a very clear understanding between the two that although MBC USA set up MBC Leadership Forum, the MBC Leadership Forum will work as an independent think tank for MBC people. So operationally, MLF is independent of MBC USA, even as we collaborate with MBC USA on a whole host of things. So that's what we do. And then, like I've said earlier, once we had a master plan published by MBC Leadership Forum, it was important to determine how best to go forward with implementing the master plan. And so we consulted MLF, Mbise Leadership Forum, consulted with Mbise USA, and agreed to set up a foundation, which we call Mbise Global Foundation. So this is the relationship.
Okay.
Mbise USA has been central to the founding of MLF, and both MLF and Mbise USA are central to the founding of Mbise Global Foundation, with the support of his resume Mbise.
As an umbrella body, you think they're doing great?
Mbise USA as an umbrella body for Mbise people in the United States. That's what I think it's actually evolving in that role. And I should say that where things are now, what I've seen right now is that the current leadership of Mbise USA has moved this organization to a very enviable level, to a very high level. It's been a growth in stature. And I believe the current leadership, led by Chief Echendo and Ezeji Aloziago, and their associates, and the board of delegates, led by Dr. Charles Iwejo, and so on, that they have taken Mbise USA to a level that is much higher than it used to be in the past. And which I believe, if we are still on that same trajectory, which I hope we will then move to even a better level and a higher level in the years to come. Is work in progress. Okay. We cannot rest on our oars. Well, everybody has to work hard to make it still better. But I'm very pleased that there is an upward trajectory, and the current leadership are doing a great job and have taken things to a level that they dare not allow things to go any lower. It can only go higher.
Taking things to a higher trajectory, where do you see Mbise in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I'm a believer in collaboration. This is one thing that I've always, if you like, espoused since I came in. I believe in collaboration. I believe in working together with people. Yes, individuals might have the genius or spark of genius in the individual, but the community moves forward best and faster and fastest when the people with all their talents come together and work in collaboration with mutual respect and in a selfless way, believing that the community should move forward rather than fighting for one strong man or the other strong man. We work for the community. That's my belief. So to your question, in the years to come, I hope that Mbise will move to a higher level where this sense of collaboration will be even stronger. Will be stronger, and that Mbise people can team up even more to achieve goals, to achieve projects that will benefit the people of Mbise. Is very important. That's what I think. More collaboration builds a stronger synergy going forward for the purpose of making Mbise development faster and more sustained for the benefit of our people.
Well, on that note, I'd like to say a very special thank you to Honorable Chris Ohanele, the moderator of Mbise Leadership Forum and also the Executive Director of Mbise Global Foundation. I thank you so much for being our guest on Leadership Platform.